Hello and welcome to One India News. I am Akash, and as we all know, the whole day we at One India were tracking the story that happened there in Tamil Nadu. The helicopter that was carrying 14 people, including the Chief of Defense Staff, General Bipin Rawat, his wife, and his defense assistant, and more officials of the army. It crashed while it was on its way to Wellington. And post that, we have been covering this story non-stop. And the latest update is that a few hours ago, just an hour ago, we got an update that 13 out of 14 people in that crash have been confirmed dead. And now the confirmation has arrived that CDS Bipin Rawat passed away in that crash. He was not able to survive it. And to discuss more with me about this whole situation and what would be the way forward for the government is our senior correspondent, Vicky Nanchappa. Hello, Vicky. Welcome.
Hello, Akash. Thank you so much.
So it's a very grimace day as far as India is concerned. Just a year back, one of the most decorated army personnel of India, General Bipin Rawat, he took up this new post of CDS. You and me were talking about this thing that this post was first. It was thought of in during the Kargil war, but there was a lot of issues. But now on 1st of January, General Bipin Rawat, who retired as the army chief on the 31st of December, he took over as the CDS. And now, just shy of an year, we come to hear about this story that it is an unfortunate thing. Your first thought about this whole situation that has happened today?
No, first it was something that you couldn't actually process within your head that something of this sort would happen. Actually, we were all very, very happy when this post was created. It was a much needed post, one thing, and to lose your first CDS in such a tragic fashion, there are no words to actually explain it. So, it's been a very dull afternoon all day. And on the other hand, you'd see that we lost such an important officer, basically, such a decorated and such an important officer. And the kind of troubles we're having on both sides of a border, that is, be it China or be it, Pakistan. And at that time, an officer of a CDS becomes so important, basically to liaison between the three forces, an exclusive advisor to the defense minister on matters of defense, some of the reforms that he came out with, cost cutting within the army, that is, not having unwanted posts outside, conflict areas, and procurement of weapons, arms, so it's a big void out there. It was such a forward-thinking decision, which was, kept under wraps, because, there was always this fear that, there was always this confusion that the CDS, may ultimately become a CNC, a commander-in-chief, but there's, a day and night difference between the two posts. And considering the kind of wars we have been fighting or we are going to fight in the future, this was an exceptionally important post. And more than that, I would say that it was in the right hands, at least.
Exactly. It was definitely in the very capable hands of General Bipin Rawat, who we today lost. And as we all know, you and we were discussing that the center is going to have a security meeting today. It was scheduled to happen today at 6:30 p.m. But before that, this news broke that General Bipin Rawat is no more, the CDS is no more. So now, what would be the agenda of that meeting? Because speculations were there that there might be a possibility that General Rawat would not come out of this whole situation. And there was a lot of speculations in the corridors saying that a new CDS will be announced today. So do you think that decision might take place today in this meeting, which is going to happen around 6:30? It might have just started right now.
Yeah, as we speak, the Prime Minister has also tweeted saying he's deeply anguished, and now the meeting will start. I don't think there will be such an immediate decision taken on that, Akash, because currently his next in command would be there during the interim, because this is not a decision which can be like, the incident is just around 4 to 5 hours old. So, it's pretty much impossible to, just come out with a name all of a sudden for such an important post. The
Correct.
meeting, I guess, would be more about, condoling the demise of it. And then, of course, going about the funeral preparations, etc. That also will be there. And then it is also going to, discuss on what is to be said in Parliament tomorrow, because the Defence Minister is scheduled to make a statement on that. The appointment of a new chief, yes, it would be there on their minds, but definitely not today, because, it's not something that anybody had expected. We all expected that he would complete the tenure. So I don't think it must have been the government of India's thinking even on who is going to replace him so soon now.
Exactly, very true. And like now looking back at how the whole date transpired and everything, the general from Palam Airport, he reached Sulu, and from there he took off in the MI helicopter. So, but what eyewitnesses account that have actually come now in the evening, they said that before the aircraft crashed, it was on fire. So these are the eyewitnesses account, though nobody has, not the army, not anybody else over there has, said that this is a right account or not. But if this kind of a situation is there, do you think a special inquiry would be done, because it's because the aircraft was carrying a CDS and thorough everything has been would be done, not once, not twice, but maybe 3 or 4 times. But this kind of an incident happens. So how would now the procedure and of course the whole inquiry in this matter take place?
One thing, Akash, the thing is, an inquiry into any aircraft crash will take place irrespective of what rank the officer is, whether he's a soldier or this one. But now I think, that the aircraft was on fire, and a lot of things, I would still say that they are merely speculative, okay? Because, I've also heard of reports saying that, it was due to poor visibility, number one. That is not, if that is the reason, poor visibility, then it's definitely not the aircraft's fault. And the others are saying that it was just about 10 minutes away or 10 kilometers away from landing. So that's one thing. And in case of a probe, I think the first statement that the Indian Air Force came out with itself saying that, an aircraft has crashed with CDS General Rawat, and an inquiry has been ordered into the matter. So that is a process that is already underway, because, initially it's more about rescue operations, and, considering, some of the bodies were burned, at this one, there had to be an identification done. Heard of DNA tests also being done, identification, all those, the process. At first is a rescue, and, this one cordon off the area. Then there was also a process that, they have to take over the crash site because it was filled with locals at that time.
Correct.
So all these things will happen. Of course, inquiry will be at a very high level. There's no doubt about it. And, it is going to take some time to get the exact nature of why the chopper crashed.
Exactly. And all those people who are just joining us right now, I just want to give everybody an update that today, around 12:20 p.m., the chopper, the MI chopper that was carrying General Bipin Rawat, his wife, and a few of other officials of the army, it crashed in the Nilgiri mountains. And it was going to Wellington, where there was a ceremony happening at a military college, and General Rawat was slated to join that meeting, but unfortunately the aircraft crashed. And by today in the evening itself, the official sources have said that Bipin Rawat died in that aircraft crash. So that has been the update as of now. Vicky, now as we were talking about that, there would be a different kind of a funeral preparation for the CDS, because this is a new post. So according to you, what would be the would be the way forward in terms of the funeral preparations for the CDS?
It wouldn't be exactly different, Akash. It would be exactly the one which, would be accorded to a 4-star general, because, the CDS was appointed as a 4-star general. And, a similar funeral with, honors being given, like how a 4-star general would get it and how an officer on duty would get it. So I don't think there would be any different protocol on that.
Correct, correct. And now one more question arises now, Vicky, that of course we had this conversation like a few moments back that, any aircraft accident happens, an inquiry is done. But now, because this is a Russian aircraft and India definitely just signed a deal with Russia, the 2+2 meeting that just happened a few days back with the Russian counterparts, between the defense minister also. And of course, India also signed a deal for 10 more years with Russia for technical support, also for technical exchanges in terms of defense also. But every time, be it a Sukhoi, be it a MiG, be it a Mi V5 helicopter that just crashed today, speculation starts saying that, Russia, these old aircraft, these should be, done with. We should not use this aircraft anymore. New aircraft should be put into the army. So what is your take on this? Would call for a better aircraft will now come after this incident that has happened, and of course which has claimed the life of CDS?
Yeah, I mean, this has been in talks for some time now, saying that the old fleet has to go out and we have to start introducing the new fleet, and we will need to do it sooner, definitely. And that was something that was being worked on by the Indian Army, and I mean the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army also. So I think it would be really wise now to speed up that process and get the old fleet out and get newer variants of the aircraft, which I mean I would say are more reliable, but without passing any judgment on why this chopper crashed.
Exactly. And like I would just like to tell all our viewers also that businessman Anand Mahindra also just right now tweeted, and he said that the brave never dies, though they sleep in the dust, their courage nerves 1,000 living men. We salute our fallen heroes. Om Shanti. So this is a tweet that just came from industrialist Anand Mahindra, who is very much active on Twitter, and definitely he also, the nation currently definitely mourns the passing of CDS Bipin Rawat. Vicky, now as we were talking about in terms of you and me were talking about what is the difference between the post of CDS and another similar post that was there before this, but it has more more authority over these things over the army, the navy, and the air force. So could you just tell us a little bit difference between these two posts?
Now, the first post that we spoke about, that was of the that was a commander-in-chief. That was a very British era kind of post, and it was only held by one Indian general, and that was Field Marshal General K.M. Karyappa. And after that, it was discontinued because it was kind of felt. See, Akash, that was a post that you had complete control, that is both administrative as well as military control over the three. This one, there's always a chance that when you have so much of power, then you can always overthrow a government. It becomes because you have control over all the three armed forces. Now that was discontinued somewhere in 1955, and after that we've not had a commander-in-chief. So, and then post the Kargil war, the committee was formed and they suggested that there should be a chief of defense staff created. It never went through, despite, because, there was always this apprehension, there was this small little, misconception that it is a post of a commander-in-chief again. But in the case of a CDS, the power is only, to liaison between the three chiefs. One, advise the defense minister of India, suggest reforms within the army, speak about, the old fleet of aircraft, what needs to be done, how much of procurement is needed. Now, the thing is, sometimes there's a joint requirement of, say, all the three forces. It was sometimes getting difficult to get them to sit, on the table together. So, for multiple reasons, and there are a lot of bureaucracy also, which has to be handled and things like that. So they wanted one person there, a go-to man there who would take a call on all this, and understand what the needs of the army are, understand what the needs of the Indian Air Force, or for that matter the Navy is, and then, advise the defense minister on this so that, he can take it up to the prime minister, and, a collective decision can be taken on, what to procure, what not to procure. So there's a sun and moon difference between what a CNC was and what a CDS is.
Correct. Very true, Vicky. And now, like the big question, like everybody might be just asking that, why did it take so long for the government or the authorities to come out with the confirmation? Because it's a very high level post. I understand that, anticipation is always there with the people. So, of course, one is the reason, I think, presume is the reason because this area is very remote. And of course, search and rescue operation takes a lot of time in these kind of areas, or when this kind of thing happens. But what took so long for the confirmation to come out?
There are multiple processes, Akash. The one is, the thing is, sensitivity only demands that, you confirm and confirm and confirm, and only when you're completely confirmed about it, that, you come out with the news. That is one. And also another thing, if you saw that, the defense minister met with the family, then the army chief met with the family. See, these are all protocols which you have to follow, number one point. Okay, we in the media may be in, a teething hurry to, break something, but, there are protocols which have to be followed, especially, in the case of a 4-star general, when you talk about it. Family has to be informed, what are the preparations, what to do. Let's first identify, whether, because, we don't know, how bad the condition was out there. And arrangements have to be made. There's a protocol of, having a meeting or, rather informing Parliament. Okay, that did not happen today. But a lot of protocols are there. You have to take the family's view into it and all that. And only once all that is done, do you, confirm it. That is one. Okay. And there's also another thing, happens, when anytime a big person passes away, all of a sudden like this, there's also this law and order issue and security and all that. So, all those things have to be taken into account. And only then the confirmation is given.
Absolutely, very true, Vicky. And now we know that tomorrow the Defense Minister Raksha Mantri will address the Parliament. What do you think would be the keynotes that he will be covering tomorrow in his speech while he is addressing the Parliament?
I don't think there'll be anything more than what we already know today, Akash. That's just a formality there. Of informing that such and such an incident took place, and this is what happened in that incident, and the Parliament has to condole this, and an inquiry is on, and we'll come out with more when we get more information from the inquiry. It's not going to go anything more than that actually tomorrow.
Okay, so you and one more thing that what could be the reasons behind this thing? Because I think everybody's speculating something or another. I just want to get your point of view. What do you think that might have gone wrong in this whole situation?
I wouldn't want to speculate at all, Akash, on that. I mean, being honest, because honestly speaking, one, to be very honest, eyewitnesses out there tend to say a lot of things, actually. One, sometimes, there are locals out there, of course, they've done a great job. They'll try to dramatize events, because there are media cameras standing there. So, I won't be too surprised if some of those cameras itself, ones behind the mic are asking them to, juice up events or something. They'll say ball of fire, they can say this, they can say that, because TV has to keep on, rambling on every second. So that is
Correct.
one thing. See, one thing is that it's a little tricky terrain out there. It's a very dense forest. At the moment, if you were to ask me, I mean, I would go with the low visibility, factor, because it is very foggy out there. So I would just leave it at that, and then, actually wait for what the inquiry report finally says on that.
Correct. And I just want to tell my viewers who all have just joined us right now, and as you everybody can read the headlines and the thumbnails. CDS Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, he basically died in the crash that happened today. The crash happened in near Wellington, where CDS was supposed to go and have a conversation, have a talk at a military college over there. And the incident happened today at around 12:22 p.m. when the ATS basically lost connection with the aircraft, and it was reported missing. And after that, a lot of things have happened. There were a lot of speculations. The initial report said that General Rawat was there, and he was taken to a nearby hospital, to a nearby military hospital, and his condition was very critical. And his wife, Madhulika Rawat, was also on board on that flight. And she and there were more, at least 13 people that were there at that point of time in the aircraft when it crash landed. Though 8 bodies were found, 3 were they were told that they were missing. But by the evening, it was confirmed that 13 out of 14 people basically didn't make through this accident. And after that, within half an hour of that news coming in, it was confirmed by the sources that General Bipin Rawat died in that incident. And I just got a tweet right now from the Indian National Congress, who have basically said this thing, that we offer our heartfelt condolences to the demise of Madhulika Rawat, the wife of CDS General Bipin Rawat, and other personnel of the armed forces on board the helicopter. We share the grief of the bereaved families, and may all their souls rest in peace. So that is the official tweet from the Congress party that has just come in just around 7 minutes ago. And many of the people are actually now sharing many photographs of General Bipin Rawat. Just 2 days back, he conducted a he was at an event where he did a press conference. So a very young man, young in heart, I must say, young in heart. And it's very unfortunate that such a vibrant personality we have lost in such a very unfortunate manner. What do you have to say about that, Vicky?
Yeah, I mean, certain things, there are no words to describe. It's like the thing is, he was so much in the news, and he was so outspoken and things like that. That in one word, if you want to sum it up, you just feel as though someone's just not around you at this moment. Because as a news reporter, what happens is you start building a connect with that person. Whether sometimes you may have not even seen him, but you're writing so much about him and all that. So you start building a connect with that person, and 2 days, if General Rawat has not said anything, you're sitting and wondering, where's General Rawat? So, we're going to miss all that. And of course, for the establishment, it's a mighty loss. Finding that replacement is going to take some searching.
Exactly. That is going to take a lot of searching for such a man. And I think all those generals or all those officers that come from the Gorkha Rifle, they all have that kind of a spark, Vicky. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I know that is true. They do have a spark to them. That's one thing. And also one thing, we've spoken so much about him as the CDS, but he was one of the main persons who brought down insurgency to quite a bit in the Northeast. He was one of the architects of that surgical strike which happened in Myanmar in Myanmar. And also he was very much involved in the planning of the surgical strikes against Pakistan also. So, and he's he was a very highly decorated officer. So more than this, apart from the CDS, he's a very, very brave soldier. And of course, Northeast is largely peaceful. A lot thanks to him. So, we have to, keep that also in mind.
Absolutely, Vicky. What you said is absolutely correct. And of course, PM Narendra Modi, he also tweeted and he said General Bipin Rawat was an outstanding soldier, a true patriot. He greatly contributed to modernizing our armed forces and security apparatus. His insight and perspective of strategic matters were exceptional. His passing away has saddened me deeply. So this is the tweet that has which has come from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's account. And of course, that is one, because when Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister, Vicky, at that point of time, General Bipin Rawat was the Chief of Armed Army, I think so.
2 years later. 2 years.
2 years later, and we saw that they both had a good chemistry with each other, and Modi, because when two people have a good one-to-one chemistry with each other, we can see the way that they greet each other when they meet each other, the kind of a conversation that we see with them. And that, I think, that was the one main reason that General Bipin Rawat was also made the CDS, because he holds a very good reputation with the Prime Minister. And of course, with this tweet, that what the Prime Minister said, that he has actually had contributed greatly in modernizing the armed forces and the security apparatus. So that kind of a connection that the Prime Minister had with General Bipin Rawat, and I think definitely that is one thing that will hamper India in terms of its security. In terms of when I say security, I mean the kind of a connection between the army and the administration. That kind of a connection has always been a lack. What do you think about that?
That's true. But Akash, before I get into this, I just wanted to share one thing about General Rawat. I mean, were you aware that in 2015, a Chetak chopper,
right,
he was in Dimapur, it had crashed, and he sustained very minor injuries at that time. So, okay. Now coming to the Prime Minister, yes, see, that's one thing is, when you're handing over a position of this nature, especially, what you've created it, you've announced it at the Red Fort that, you're going to create it or something like that. Most importantly, you need to have the confidence of the Prime Minister, number one. Okay. Now, because the decisions are extremely important, because defense deals and all, when you have a say in them, what you're suggesting to the government, what kind of arms, ammunition, that, what kind of weaponry you should have. That is one thing. I know it goes through multiple layers, but, these are billions and billions of dollars worth of, spending which your country is going to do. And so in that respect, I think, he fit really well, with the Prime Minister's office, with the Defense Minister, with the NSA. So it was a very good team, I would say, a very good team. And yeah, definitely a big personal loss for the Prime Minister also. I mean, unbelievable loss for the country. That's one big thing. But yeah, finding someone to replace him, as I said, it's going to be, very, very difficult. It's going to be extremely difficult. So it's not going to be easy. And yeah, as you said, that rapport that he and the PM shared, it was perfect.
Exactly. And I've just come across the tweet by the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, and he says that my heart goes out to the families of those who lost their loved ones in the incident, praying for the speedy recovery of Group Captain Varun Singh, who is currently under treatment at the military hospital in Wellington. So, Vicky, you and me were having this conversation before we started the live, that only one person who has actually survived this whole incident is Group Captain Varun Singh. So, do you think that a very crucial intel will definitely? We all pray that he survives this accident. A very important information could definitely be there with Group Captain Varun Singh.
That definitely, Akash. Of course, I mean, he was the person who was on board that chopper, so definitely he will, at least. I mean, I don't know if there is a technical flaw in the chopper, how much that still requires investigation, but he will definitely, have a lot of this one. That is only one relieving part of this whole depressing story, is that he has survived, and I really pray that he makes it, and he's back in service. So that's one thing. Yeah, and coming to information, yeah, definitely he will. The inquiry commission will, get more details from him, definitely, because he has seen it happen firsthand.
Correct, absolutely correct. That because it's been the whole day has been very speculative in terms of what might have happened, what could have happened. I was watching the news channels. There were a lot of graphics running around. They were showing that what could have happened, what might have happened. In fact, there was on Twitter, there was also one eyewitness account before the news basically came in that there was a huge the chopper was on fire before it crash landed. So a lot of things were being said, a lot of speculations were being said. Many people were actually praying for the lives of General Bipin Rawat, his wife, and everybody who was on board that aircraft. But when you saw that whole crash site, uh, everybody was just praying that everybody, whosoever was there in that plane, in that helicopter, would just come out safe. Yes, there were reports that many of the people received severe burns, but yeah, everybody prayed that at least they all survived through this.
Yeah, true. I mean, when we saw the crash site, actually, it was pretty horrific. So, and from that moment onwards, when you see a crash of that nature, and when the information suddenly stops coming, from any official channel or source-based channel, etc. That's when, you can only hope and, pray that, everything is okay. And that's what I think everybody did, that's one thing. And that is why there were basically two voices, which was happening. Some, just speculatively speculated saying that no more. And many of us actually decided, the best thing to do would, wait for an official confirmation on this, so that's one thing. And, that's also there because there are a lot of sensitivities involved also, Akash. His families are watching, they are sources also the news, for a considerable amount of time. So, I don't think it was right on anybody's part to speculate whether he was alive or dead at that time.
Correct. And right now, I have a tweet that has just come in from Yogi Adityanath, who is the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, and he's tweeted in Hindi कि Tamil Nadu के किन्नूर में दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण हादसे में CDS जनरल श्री बिपिन रावत जी व उनकी धर्मपत्नी का निधन दुखद है, और उनके एक उत्कृष्ट सैन्य अधिकारी के रूप में श्री रावत सदैव याद किए जाएंगे. उनका असमय निधन राष्ट्र के लिए बहुत ही दुखद समाचार. So this is the tweet that has basically come from CM Yogi Adityanath, who is the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. And definitely, and of course, if we talk about Uttar Pradesh, Vicky, we have seen a lot of activities, especially when it comes to Air Force happening for Uttar Pradesh. We saw that when the Lucknow expressway opened, then there was the landing of aircrafts, and of course when the Prime Minister, he went to inaugurate another expressway. So over there was the landing of the C-15 aircraft, which is one of the biggest transportation aircraft of the Indian Air Force. So of course UP is also one of the main areas where I think CDS would have been concentrating in terms of building a lot of good infrastructure in terms of helping the army over there. What do you have to say about that?
Not only the specific out there, I would say, when he was doing it for every part, because everywhere there's a border, there's always a concern on that. I think in the last couple of days, more than anything else, I think his more of his focus was on China, basically, because it's a bit of a problem zone out there. Like, the early part of, before 2019, a bigger problem was with Pakistan and all that. And now, it has gradually shifted to China. And then, military relations with the US, the Russians, all these things were on part of his, what he was basically doing, actually.
Correct, absolutely. And so I think the meeting is still underway. The meeting is just taking place. Cabinet Committee of Security. The meeting has just taking place, and the visuals are out. And PM Modi is there. Rajnath Singh, Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Finance Minister is there. Of course, Home Minister Amit Shah is also there, and NSA Ajit Doval is also present in that meeting. So the meeting is underway. It is taking place, and hopefully we'll get to know what are the decisions taken in that meeting shortly, or maybe once the meeting is over. So Vicky, out and out, today's day was pretty grim, especially, and because now the Gorkha Rifles, who are very close to who were very close to General Bipin Rawat's heart, what would I haven't not seen their reaction coming as of yet. What do you think their reaction would be?
I don't think they would react in public. I mean, definitely, it's kind of I mean, they have seen many battles. They've lost their own, they've lost their close ones, and all that. But of course, it will be very demoralizing for them, because at the end of it, being from the Gorkha regiment, and he becoming the first CDS of the country, that itself is a matter of pride for that regiment. So definitely, not only the Gorkha regiment, every regiment in the country would be devastated by this news today.
Absolutely. And the captain of Indian cricket team, Virat Kohli, he has also just now tweeted, and he is saying that deeply saddened by the untimely demise of CDS Bipin Rawat ji and other officials in a tragic helicopter crash. My deepest condolences to the friends and family members. So this is the tweet that has just come in from Virat Kohli, who is the captain of the Indian cricket team for Test and for One Day Internationals. So everybody, condolences are pouring in from everybody. Uttarakhand CM Pushkar Dhami has also said that it is deeply painful for me to learn about the demise of serious General Bipin Rawat. He devoted his life to the nation. My condolences to his family. So everybody is, condoling this untimely demise of a very young and a vibrant human being. And a lot of people in our live chat also have come, and they have shared their condolences. I definitely want to read few of them out. I've got Dushyant Kumar, and he says that Om Shanti Bipin Rawat ji. And then there is Nongkham writing in, and he says that I deeply pray for them. And many other people are also saying. We have Shantamani writing in and says, rest in peace, sir. Murugal writes in and says, rest in peace, Bipin Rawat, Army General, and other 12 members who were there in the crash. So everybody in our live chat also is praying paying the respect to the demise of General Bipin Rawat. And of course, speculations will always be there. People will speculate what happened, what would have happened, what could have happened. But definitely, we all have to wait for whatever the probe takes place, the investigation will take place, and it will come out. The report will come out hopefully very soon, and we all will be looking forward to that. And so we got somebody from Richmond, USA, and they are saying their prayers. So definitely, everybody is just pouring their heart out. Ram Dikshit says, "Rest in peace, sir. You were a legendary man." Definitely. Because I think Vicky, not everybody remembers too fondly of other army generals or army majors, but General Bipin Rawat is one army major or one army general, chief of staff that everybody remembers by.
One is, of course, what he did while he was in service. Okay, that is one thing. Not many may know that he was behind the planning of behind the fallen insurgency in but he had one fall of insurgency in Northeast. So he had one characteristic. I mean, what I always saw is that extremely unapologetic when he came to extremely unapologetic, did not mince any words, called a spade, okay, and kind of gave you that kind of a confidence that we'll take the challenge up to anyone else. And that is one of the main reasons, that if there's an eyeball to eyeball confrontation, let's not blink first. Okay. So, this was the, the motto of that man. And that's precisely why everyone remembers him so fondly.
Exactly, very true. And right now on your screens, everybody can see these are the visuals that are basically coming in from the Cabinet Committee of Security that has been chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And you can see Defense Minister over there sitting there Rajnath Singh is there, and of course, this is the list of the people that were there in the crash. So lots of things have happened today, and hopefully, we will get some final resolve out of this. And of course, everybody wants to know that what exactly happened when this aircraft went there uh, in Tamil Nadu. Well, that's all the time we have today on the live show. Thank you very much, Vicky, for coming and spending your time. And I know you've been very busy the whole day with this whole situation, covering this whole situation. And hopefully, if anything else comes again, we will definitely reconnect and we will talk about this whole how the incident has happened. Well, till then, thank you very much once again, Vicky, for coming and sharing your thoughts. And of course, our hearts goes out to the friends and families of CDS Bipin Rawat, his wife Meenakshi Rawat, and everybody else who lost their loved ones today in this unfortunate incident. And of course, we all wish for the speedy recovery of Group Captain Varun Singh, who survived this whole incident, and we hope that he comes out fighting in this whole situation. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in and being with us, sir.